Let's do a quick round of introductions and then we'll dive right into it. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon at this point now, depending on where you're sitting in the world. Thank you for joining us here at Swag Up. Today we have an awesome demo and swag series with one of our favorite brands and favorite people here, Mr. Cole Crecilius from Known Supply. What's up, Cole? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here from the comfort of my own office. So, yeah, excited to chat sustainability with you all today.
Yes, sir. And also from Swag Up, we have Miss Meg Elliott. Hey, Meg. Good morning.
Hey everyone, super excited to dive into sustainability a little deeper today.
Very cool. Yeah, we're going to spend some time together, getting to know each of you a little bit better. To set the stage, my name is Matt Friedman. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at Swag Up. Relatively new to the company, but not new to direct-to-consumer brands. I'm a former founder myself, and I kind of geeked out a little bit when I saw that Cole was going to be joining us on this call. He's done an amazing job in the industry to promote sustainability, eco-friendly products, and what he calls the most human brand. And I cannot wait to find out more about his crusade and the things that he's doing to change not only the brand and the product industry, but also coming from the promotional side and the branded product side. When we're dealing a lot of B2B, one of the first things and thoughts that we try to promote here at Swag Up is sustainability and eco-friendly products. And Cole has mastered this art and is on obviously a crusade to change the way that we all think as consumers about this. It's incredibly important and it's part of our brand ethos. So Cole, I'd love to hear from you, man. Introduce yourself, tell people about you, and we'll kick things off.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. Love just this conversation. Something that we are diving into in 2023 that brands are more aware of today than they ever have been. And it's more important for each one of our companies, businesses, organizations to really have an understanding of it and to have sort of a point of view and a stance. So a little bit of background about myself. I've been operating and working in this sort of space of what I would call social impact meets fashion and business for over 15 years, having started a number of different brands over that period of time. Always at the core of it for us has been celebrating, honoring, and empowering the people who actually make our garments, our clothing. For us, we came to understand that really the fashion industry as a whole is historically and sadly been a very exploitative place. Whether that be through low wages, forced labor, all the things that we've read or heard about over the years, and we wanted to do things differently. And so we started with providing jobs and education to garment makers so that they could change their history, their family's history, and their trajectory in life. And that, after a while, and after we did that for our own brands, we had sort of this unlock, this thinking. And for us, that was to say that we were like, why are we just doing this as ourselves, as a singular brand? If this is something that is important, we need to figure out how we can welcome in, invite anyone and everyone who sort of shares this value. And if we could do this together, if we could create merchandise and apparel together, the reach that we would have would be hundreds, if not thousands fold what we could do on our own. And so about 5 years ago, that's really where Known Supply began and where we started to partner with folks like Swag-SwagUp and working with groups directly to help them create merchandise that held the values that their company stood for. Because for so long, there's kind of been this disconnect where a company could say they stand for people, they stand for sustainability, they stand for making a positive impact, but there weren't enough, or there weren't merchandise options that would be able to carry those values through every layer and aspect of their business, every touch point that a customer or client would have.
Yep.
And so with that disconnect, it's like, you're sort of talking out of both sides of your mouth, where it's like, we care about people, but our practices or our vendors don't embody that, right? And so with that disconnect, we decided that we could leverage our expertise and knowledge of decade plus of doing this work, and we could use ourselves as a resource to help other people onboard into this idea of fair trade certified clothing, sustainably made clothing, and we could actually introduce more and more people to the people who make their products. So that's the thing with us, is every item that we produce actually has a signature label sewn into the item, and it has a QR code that takes you directly to one of the makers who's responsible for producing that piece. And that's why we're the most human brand, or at least that's a mantra that we strive for, right? We have lots of apparel options, some of which are on the screen. We do a lot with fleece, hoodies, crew necks, a lot with men's and women's apparel, have a lot of different t-shirt options, accessories, headwear, more and more bags. So we really are trying to resource people with all the items that they would need to carry through that mission that they have to care for people collectively, their own employees, their clients, and the people who actually make the products, with their merchandise, their swag, what they sort of the way they show up in the world through these sort of tangible objects. Yeah.
Awesome, man. It really is amazing. And I think you nailed it. One of the things that I saw as a founder years ago too, with a pretty similar brand promise of, just being mindful and thoughtful about where you're getting your products from and trying to carry through the maker of that product. We were in shoes and footwear. So it was really cool to go to the factories and see these people that you were providing jobs to that were amazing artisans that were hand sewing leather shoes, and where the leather came from and the people that worked with the leather in Illinois that we were sourcing. So it was very important for us to get to know the individuals and the brands that were behind the finished product and that entire supply chain. Tell me about the journey before we dive more into the product. How difficult was it for you to sort of set up that network and that infrastructure of the brands and the people that you trusted along the supply chain that had that same ethos that you did? Was that really difficult for you to find?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I'll try to be brief, because there's a lot to that. But
Sure.
basically, I would say that 15, 16 years ago, when we got started, that this idea of sustainability and ethically made clothing wasn't really very prominent, and as a result, there weren't options out there for that we knew of, or that we could find, for production that was taking place in ways that we felt like valued and honored and empowered, the actual makers. And so we started in 2007. Our journey began by starting this brand called Crochet Kids International, and we literally started by going to Uganda, because we had some local organizations we had previously worked with there, and we trained a group of people how to crochet. And that was our first production facility, was one that we built from the ground up. And we did that. We actually still work there to this day, which is something we're very proud of and excited about. We did that again in Peru, where we started and built our own production facility from the ground up, started to do apparel and all these other sorts of things. And the long and the short of it is that as we scaled, we learned that we were not going to be starting all of these production facilities all over the world at greater and greater scale, while at the same time managing, operating a brand, designing and selling clothing. And so fortunately, around that same time, the fair trade movement, and the specific group out of Oakland, California, called Fair Trade USA, who certifies, audits, and really oversees all of these relationships with factories. They were growing a lot in the apparel space. And so right around 2017, we were able to link up with them, and now today we actually do all of our apparel production in fair trade certified facilities in India. And that didn't exist 15 years ago. So we sort of went about it in the hardest way possible to
Sure.
get to the point that we are today. But now we're at a really great, have a really great relationship with Fair Trade USA. And, it's all what we've realized about the sustainability conversation is that no one group can do it all, right? Like collaboration is the absolute key to true sustainability.
Yep.
And
Right.
what our relationship with fair trade is something that we then are parlaying into, what we offer to our customers, clients, to swag up. And it's like, that is the idea, that if we can collaborate together, like not everybody needs to start their own relationship with these individual factories, or they may not know how to even go about that. But if we can take our knowledge, work with fair trade, and then create product and then make that as a resource to swag up, so swag up can resource that to their client base, it's like, that's the collaboration that's needed to create actual significant change.
Sure. Wow, it's amazing, and it's worth doubling down on too, just so people understand that you've impacted the entire supply chain and almost had to create a new category of supply chain where it's not like, 15 years ago when you started this, you could just tap into a resource that was readily available on a Google search to say, hey, can I find sustainable, eco-friendly, eco-conscious factories that are making interesting products? You literally created that entire lane and open up those conversations and relationships for others that I'm sure are now, who are taking the same path and tapping into that. So it's just important for people to know the work and how dedicated a brand like yours is, because it's easy today to kind of throw up on your website and say, we're eco-conscious, we're focused on sustainability, we're a B certified corp, but I don't think a lot of people realize what you've done and the impact that you've had, not only on the product and the front of house and the commerce side of things, but the work that's gone into it and the devotion that you have, all, starting with the crochet project. So I applaud you. And I just wanted to make sure that it was worth mentioning what you've done and the body of work that you've put in to get to this point, back of house. So anyway, let's shift a little bit, to Known Supply. Tell us a little bit about, today where you guys are, the product assortment, and more front of house and the offering that we have. Some of the stuff on Swag Up, obviously, but the readily available stuff on the commercial website that you guys offer today.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for saying all that. And, it's like we've put in a lot of work, but I just want to say it's like, we are so excited to have done that and to be in a position where we get to invite other people to into this. So we get to talk about product, but it's like, for us, our product is really a means to an end. And in partnering with anyone, Swag Up, your client base, others who use our product, it's like, that's the greatest joy for us, is that we get to unite and share in this mission together. So, as I was kind of mentioning, what is important to know about our product: everything we produce is fair trade certified. Everything is also uses sustainable materials. We predominantly, everything that we have on Swag Up, if I'm not mistaken, is all 100% GOTS certified organic cotton. If you're not familiar with the GOTS certification, it's the Global Organic Textile Standard. That is sort of the highest level of organic certification when it comes to cotton, and looks not only at the cotton itself, but supply chain and the human impacts and those sorts of things as well. And then, as you mentioned, we're also B Corp certified. So it's like, with the product, all of those labels come with it. And so that's what I love, is that we can help you have instantly fair trade certified merchandise. Like, you don't have to do anything else other than purchase or utilize really the merchandise that Known Supply makes, and all these certifications come with them. So that's something that we're really proud of and happy to share with people. You know, it's because if somebody's wanting to do an apparel brand, whether they're giving swag away or whether they're wanting to sell that in any capacity, it's like, you know, it's like, how do I start a fair trade brand? Like, what do I even do? And it's like, we try to make that as easy as possible. What we provide is predominantly, we have a lot of unisex apparel. As I mentioned, fleece, hoodies, zip hoodies. We also do a lot with, you know, we have t-shirts. We do long sleeves, both for men and women, and then accessories. We have really, really great hats. What I always encourage people is like all of the one size fits all accessories are so amazing because it's like you don't have to worry about figuring out, you know, 6 or 7 sizes. But those are great, and bags, totes, you know, all sorts of good stuff. Just check it out for yourself.
Awesome. No, look, it's exciting for us to have these conversations, and it's cool to kind of identify who the tribe is of folks in the cohort of our customers that are really adopting this. Because there's a lot of brands out there that share the same ethos and the same care and the same mantra that want to be more eco-conscious and purchase these types of products. For us, it's always cool to see who they are and which brands are adopting sort of that philosophy too. So talk to us, Cole, a little bit just about, I know we've talked about sort of the sourcing, the supply chain, and what it takes from a brand perspective to get to that point. You know, once the product is, you know, someone's searching on a product page in SwagUp, they're looking for these types of products. You know, talk to us, you know, a little bit about the quality of the product and what goes into making, you know, some of these goods that folks are.
Yeah, of course. And before we dive fully in, it's like we want to touch on some of these high level like best practices, and we're going to start here with quality. I just want to like note that merchandise and apparel sort of on the whole, like these aren't these aren't sustainable like ways of like I guess what I'm trying to say is that like producing more products isn't the most sustainable thing that we all can do. So we all have to really think about the role that merchandise and swag plays in each of our businesses, brands, and organizations, and be really mindful of like how we do what we do, because it can have an incredible impact on the health and well-being of our employees or our clients, on making people feel connected. It does have these really important roles that they play, and we have to marry those sort of roles and the importance of our swag and merchandise with sort of these bigger principles. And we really have to ask the question, it's like with each piece we're making, it's like, does this check these boxes, and will the importance of this for whoever's receiving it, will it really matter in a way that is meaningful and that is something that they will really cherish? Because if we're just producing product to produce product and we're trying to just like check that box, so to speak, of like, this is what we do as a business, like it may not come across well, it may not be received well, and those items may not be things that people actually use, which is the ultimate, like, you know, it's kind of the worst place we can be in producing product. So the things we can do and ensure when it comes to sustainability is really first and foremost using quality items that were built to last, that people will actually enjoy and wear for a long period of time because they are built with quality, right? And the quality, for me, I think the thing that there's the sustainability component of it, which is very important, making things that are built to last. But I also encourage brands and companies to really think about, what does your merchandise say about who you are? your goods and services.
Yep.
If you are giving a piece of swag, clothing, merch, however you want to call it, that doesn't, when someone receives it, doesn't speak to quality, and like, what does that say about your brand and about whatever it is that you provide, right? There's those aspects of like, a merchandise is an expression of your values, and how something is made is a very important value that people cue in on 100%.
Sure. Yeah, it's, when you really break it down, you've done so much behind the scenes and back of house with the supply chain and, sourcing all these, these materials and brands and sourcing partnerships. You've been so mindful and thoughtful about that you want the quality of the end result to match all the work and all the things that you've done. And it doesn't stop there. I think what's interesting too is the decoration and the embellishment of that product. Oh, perfect time. Thank you. Of the final finished good of how you're gonna, embroider, how you're gonna print. There's still another element of the decoration and the design of that product that still, here at SwagUp, we're very, very mindful of, the different processes that we can use to embellish a product that are still going to carry on ethos. Talk to me a little bit about, the design, and any of the decoration process that, that you've seen work or that still kind of carries through that mantra that you.
Yeah. I think that, I would say historically, there's been sort of this disconnect, that people building things that are sustainable, that they aren't design forward, that it's like that people are kind of trying to pass on the like, oh, well, this is sustainable, so it can sort of lack in other areas. Yep. And I think there's also, some of those things I believe as a society, culture, merchandise, I think that's changing a little bit, but at the end of the day, one of the most sustainable things we can do is make things that people actually want to wear. And I say this on my Twitter all the time. I say this on social media. It sounds like the most obvious statement, but it's something that people get wrong all the time. Like, especially, in this kind of merchandise and swag space, it's like we really have to think about, it's like, what are things that people will actually wear? Are we trying to use these things as just like billboards for our work, or just to like place our logo somewhere and call it a day? Or are we trying to get more creative and bringing the quality and design forward so that it is a piece that someone will have in their wardrobe, not just because they work at your company and they have to show up at this event, but that they'll wear out and about, that they'll be proud to wear. And that as a result, the benefit of that swag starts to, really increase, because it's not just this one piece that you gave one time to make somebody feel better, but it's this piece that your client or employee is putting on proudly and is like walking out the door. And one quick example, I was thinking of that this morning when I put this sweatshirt on. So this sweatshirt is for my son's elementary school, and he's a first grader, and I was like getting involved, and I was like, hey, we should create stuff at the elementary school that people love, and that other schools are like, wait, what school? Like, where's that from? College Park Elementary, where is that? And it was like such a fun project. I put a lot of time into like the design, and everyone loves it. And it is this piece that people are really proud to wear. And it's like, my son's school isn't like the most, it's not the most notable in the area, or people don't, it's sort of tucked away in a neighborhood, but people are recognizing like, oh, College Park, it's the one with the cool t-shirts, right? And it's like, that matters, because people like, if we're going to do it, let's do it in a way that is cool. And that, it might involve, like, we might have to get outside of our wheelhouse if we don't have that creative person on our team, or, we might need some outside help to design something that we really love, but it's worth it. And I think the impact of that that you'll see, is starts to become more than you originally thought. That's like, you're not just, oh, we got to do swag, so we're doing swag. We're creating special things that people will wear for a long time, which happens to be very sustainable. And, there are other like ancillary benefits as well.
For sure. It's such a cool thing. It's got to be awesome. I have 3 young girls under 6 years old, and I'm inspired to almost introduce you to everyone at both of their schools now, just because, to your point, I equate this industry, and I've been in it almost my entire career, or adjacent to it, with, if you look at anything else that you consume, like food and what restaurants can do, you're almost running like a farm to table commerce business where you're getting to know the farmer that's making, the organic cotton, the same as you would get to know the farmer who's making your eggplant that's going on your plate. So it's a mindset, and I'm seeing in the comments already folks like Laura who are, agreeing with us, which is awesome. Like we've identified, and we're finding our tribe of folks that care this deeply about it, the same that you would going to a farm to table restaurant, So it's a bit of a mindset that, it's always exciting for us to see the folks that have adopted that. So I want to flip over a little bit to perfect timing. Just some of the materials that, if folks are shopping on SwagUp, doing a search, obviously, for known supply, but if they're looking for products that maybe you don't offer, what are some of the materials that you've used, or keywords in the material space that people can look or search for, to know that they're getting something that's been sustainably sourced from the very beginning?
Yeah. So it's a great question. And we don't need to spend a ton of time on this, but at the end of the day, when, from a true sustainability perspective, the thing you need to think about when choosing products is you actually need to think about its end of life. Like that's really what people, who are academically looking at sustainability, that's really the way that they look at it, because it's like, it's not about, the creation is one aspect of it. Is it using less resources and things? But it's like, one of the biggest problems when it comes to apparel and merchandise is kind of the waste. What happens at the end? Like, is there a place and a way that this can be reused? Is it all just become actual waste? And so the things to think about, as you mentioned, kind of the keywords and things to consider, organic materials are really vital and important. That's one way to really, and that's sort of the most obvious way. It's like, people know, oh, an organic cotton t-shirt, even if they don't know a lot about sustainability, they know that like that is important. And why it's important is because it uses less resources to produce, less water, no pesticides. And then at the end of its life, organic materials can break down more quickly, right? Whether it be an organic cotton t-shirt, things of that nature. So there's that. There is recycled, which is kind of one step below organic. Recycled is really saying that, you're giving new life to something that would have otherwise been waste. Thinking about if it's recycled plastics and things, it's like, it does still have a harder time at the very end of life. So we need to think about that. And then the last thing that I would say is this concept of circularity. It's something that is talked a lot about in the sustainability space, and it really is speaking to that end of life. And circularity, all that's really saying is, what that was made, and is there a process to bring that item back into existence in another way, shape, or form? You think about that with, like metals are probably the best, and like from a material standpoint, something that you can actually reuse. There are groups, like even for Known Supply, we have what's called a take back bag. It's something where we are recycling and repurposing our products at the end of life to have new life or to be used in other ways. And so those are some of the really the things to consider. There's ways that I'm sure companies could even get creative and start to think about that within their own sort of environment, their own company culture. How do we How do we take back and reuse or repurpose or redonate items, swag items that employees don't actually use anymore, so that it's not just given away. It's like there could be really cool initiatives to be thought about even within companies, and the swag that's already being generated, to think about that idea of circularity. It's just one encouragement. And then lastly, just like it says on the slide here, it's like the less plastic, the better. Plastic is just very difficult from just a decomposition standpoint. And, we hear about it all the time from an environmental, understanding, but just something to be aware of.
Sure. No, this is awesome. Thank you. And, these are all just kind of tips and guidelines for the folks that are listening and that may, after we, distribute this out, just different questions to challenge us on, to ask us if there are more sustainable options. What t-shirts can you show me that are organic or recycled? So in terms of ordering, in the ordering process, when folks are working with us, we just put up on the screen some ways that you can challenge us at SwagUp to, start asking us questions. How can we put together a sustainable pack? Or how can we think about ways to merchandise things with just, fair trade products that are coming from known supplier or other brands? When you guys are talking about, the ordering process, if you're doing a wholesale or bulk order or something for an organization, talk a little bit about that process and things that people could be asking or thinking about when they're challenging you as a brand to put together, a big order for their company.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the broader point here, and something that I hope everyone takes away today, is that, sustainability is really, we need to look at it more holistically. It is not just what is the material content of this item that I'm selling, and is it green or is it eco-friendly? And it's a lot more about sort of the logistics, the operations of how we produce and order swag and merchandise that is meaningful. It's the design, it's the quality, it's like putting the time up front to make something that's actually that we're proud of and that people will want to wear. And then this idea of ordering is one of the most important, I would say, because as you think about swag and merchandise, either in the fashion space, which we operate, or this kind of merchandise space that we're discussing today, one of the biggest problems is ordering all of our items all at once, and then having 100 size small t-shirts that we don't have any use for, but we just kind of quickly put together an order, and then it was like, oh, well, turns out no one really wanted that size, or we didn't really know what was exactly needed. And so really putting the time into the process like before our order, to understand it's like the quality and design doesn't matter if you give somebody who a item or t-shirt that doesn't fit them, that they actually cannot physically wear because it's too big or small, right? And then that is just, that's
defeats the whole purpose.
Waste.
That waste. That's right. Yep.
Defeats the whole purpose. Yeah, both on like trying to help an employee feel known, as well as from a sustainable sustainability giving somebody something that they will actually use, right?
Cool.
And so I think this is one of the ways to the swag up horn. And you guys didn't ask me to do this, but I'm like leveraging technology to really understand what people want and need is sustainability, because again, you're producing things that people will actually use and that aren't just frivolous items. And so pre-ordering, pre-selling, gaining interest, the things that you have up here on the screen are very critical and are going to help us ultimately reduce what we produce, and then as a result reduce the waste that happens in production. It's more efficient, and here's the last thing that I'll say is that a lot of times sustainability, everyone thinks of it, especially in a truly corporate sense, or is like it is more expensive, right? Like, oh, well, if I'm doing things sustainably, it's going to cost more. But it's like, no, when we're talking about sustainability, there's something that I like to call the other sustainability, which is the financial health and financial well-being and sustainability of our businesses. If we think about that lens when it comes to our ordering, a sustainable best practice is getting pre-orders, is not creating waste, and is getting people what they want, right? Well, it turns out that is also more cost effective, right? Because we're not ordering more than we need, and we're getting people items that they're going to enjoy and use, and they're not going to constantly just want new items, or we're just guessing and throwing more things at them, right? And so it's like that is both financial health of our organizations, and it's actually a sustainable practice. And so I think that's just like, that's something that's really beautiful about sustainability, is that these things aren't like at odds with each other. These things are actually, in their best sense, are working harmoniously and have like returns on returns, both financially, emotionally, across the board for our brands. And so, I don't know. I'll get off my soapbox. That's like what I'm very passionate about. Why sustainability is so amazing.
It's the perfect segue to introduce Meg and introduce the platform. A couple of things you mentioned there, and I'll tee Meg up so she can show just exactly what you were talking about. We do consider ourselves a part or a component of that supply chain that starts with you being really responsible, and 15, 20 years of your life and devotion and dedication. We're just a cog in that wheel, the way that we look at it. We're just on a different pillar, towards the end of that cycle. But what Meg is going to show you, and part of one of those things, is we've invented something called the Redeem Page, which is our version of a brand new inspired shopping cart that can be a product of one for one person that we can scale for all of our customers. So if you're out there listening and you've used this before, we sort of invented a brand new way of shopping where you can have a direct one-to-one cart with one product in it for one person just to redeem that item. So you don't have to go and add, 4 or 5 things to your cart that maybe you didn't really need, that maybe you just wanted. That's just the one thing that we're offering. So I'll let Meg take over. Cole, thank you so much for all that you do. We love our partnership working with you. Anything more that we can be doing to promote this, we're here for you. So I'll kick it over to Meg to kick things off on the demo, but thank you. We really appreciate your partnership.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to bow out for this next part, but appreciate the fact that you're tuning into this conversation, and that, there are people that are thinking critically about these things, and Swag Up for your guys' partnership, and being an important piece in that process to help people have access to more sustainable options across the board. So last thing I'll mention is I recently, just this last week, put out an ebook that kind of dives a little bit deeper into the principles that we talked about. You can find it at that link, or I'm sure this presentation will get sent out. knownsupply.com/susty, short for sustainable. That's what the cool kids call it these days. Susty. I love it. Okay, thank you all so much. I hope you have a good rest of your day and your presentation, okay?
Cole, you're the man. Thank you so much. We appreciate all that you do.
Okay, take care.
You too. All right, without further ado, I'm going to kick things over to Miss Meg Elliott, who's going to run us through the platform. Meg, good afternoon to you. Thanks for hanging in there, and we're really excited to see what you have to show us today.
Yeah, I think that was awesome, and it ties in perfectly to everything I'm about to show. So super excited to dive a little bit deeper. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to first off take some time to thank everyone for being here. This is something that is super important to me, just being sustainable and environmentally friendly in general. So I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about how SwagUp does all those things. From everything that you just saw, I'm sure that you've kind of noted that in general, swag typically isn't your most sustainable thing, especially in the past. And I am very excited to share a little bit more about how SwagUp is working every day to change that and what we're doing that's different from your typical swag that does make it more environmentally friendly and more sustainable too. To start out with, we do have a fully curated platform already ready to go for you, and it is totally free. That is probably one of the best things about us, is that this platform and everything that you have access to, there are no costs associated, there's no contracts. Essentially, all we're doing is providing a platform that simplifies and streamlines the process of creating your swag, shipping your swag, and then storing your swag if you need it. We'll absolutely dive a little bit deeper into all of this, but again, just to reiterate, totally free, no contracts when working with us. You can do as much as you need or as little as you need. Right off the bat, we do have the dashboard, as you can see. This essentially will be your main page just to show what you're working on currently, existing proofs, things that are going out. All those little things can be shown right through the dashboard here, and you can also start to see what kind of designs you have going on, different possibilities for everything, and it intros right into our product section also. And if you toggle back to that dashboard, you can actually start a new order at any point in time. So this does not mean you're locked into anything. You don't have to move forward if you don't want to. Essentially, we're just trying to figure out what you might be looking for and interested in so we can get started on some mock-ups for you to view. This is a great way to be sustainable because you can mess around with as many different products as you need to without actually placing an order yet. And as you could see, we had like 3 different sections there that you could choose from. And we just went with the main pack build, but we do have a couple different options if you're looking for more of bulk items. And we even have an option for your swag team to kind of build out a pack on our end, in case you're not too sure what you're looking to do moving forward. But as you can see, this is going to be our main catalog for some of our most popular items at this point in time. It is already curated for your highest quality swag that is sustainable and is not bad for the planet to begin with. Of course, most popular items that are ethically sourced can be found on here too, not wasteful. The majority of our vendors are also involved in some sort of sustainability effort also. For example, One Tree Planted, shout out because everyone attending this demo today, on behalf of that, we are partnering with them to have One Tree Planted, again, just for everyone that attends this. So just those little things that we can be a part of are super important to us. In general, we strive to do everything that we can to be the most environmentally friendly as we can. There are little leaves on some of these options too. I think the original Swell bottle is maybe the first one that has it up top, but it'll show you the original Swell has that little green leaf next to it, but it'll have, our items that are the most sustainable, perfect. And you can kind of curate your pack throughout here. So as you start to add items, it'll start to create a pack for you so you can get a better idea of the items that you're most interested in. And we can also source items for you too. So believe it or not, we've got about 3,000 items on the back end, and we do have a lot of different capabilities also. So once you pick out the items, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can add them to your project, mess around with different order quantities. And then once you submit those mock-ups, it'll just have you fill out some additional info. And then everything will pop up underneath that products tab, mocked up, designed, fully ready for you to review. Awesome part about this, as we mentioned earlier, is that you can reuse these items as much as you want to. You can mess around with different designs. You can start to build out different packs. Of course, if you just want to order items in bulk, you can always go that route too. But it is a really easy way to reuse items. And if you, purchased an item in the past that you loved and you want to include it in a new pack and get some new swag too, you can do all of those things right through that products tab. And very, very easy, especially, if you loved a different product or want to completely start over, you can always do that through there too. And then you'll see at the top, there's of course different filters. So you can organize by the types of items, pack versus products, all those little things. And that'll be all right there through that products tab. Next up would be your orders tab. Essentially, pretty self-explanatory also. This is just where we start to create and get a better idea of pricing and approving those mock-ups and everything for those specific orders. You can also toggle between requested and completed. So if you're curious about what you've done in the past or what was popular beforehand, you're always welcome to go through there and check out that also. Next up, we've got the inventory section, which, if you did not know, we can warehouse everything for you. I cannot believe that folks are still storing things in their garages and in their living rooms and wherever they can. So please know that you don't have to do that anymore. We can warehouse everything for you. Everything is going to be a flat one-time fee as well. So once you've paid for it, it's good until it's gone. You can literally use that for as long as you need to. There's no deadlines, nothing like that. I just saw in the chat, we don't have a specific catalog, but I do have a PDF presentation of all of our most popular eco-friendly items and sustainable ones. And we do have some pre-curated packs too. So I can definitely get all that info over to you after the call. But yes, we do have options that show all of those sustainable items too. Hopping back into that inventory and everything, this is all of the inventory essentially that you've already paid for. The great part again is once you paid for it, it's good until it's gone. So you can order as much swag for the whole year as you need to, keep it all in your inventory, and then literally send it out whenever you need to. No additional deadlines, no additional fees at all. This is really helpful, not only environmentally, but also efficiency and cost, because if you can tell, you definitely can order swag for the whole year instead of little batches at a time. So then you get more bang for your buck. It doesn't have as much of a negative impact on the environment versus ordering those small batches every 2 or 3 months. Again, why not? If you can warehouse it, get a little bit more bang for your buck, throw everything in that warehouse, and then literally you have it for as long as you need to. And you can send it out as easy as it seems. You hit that little send swag button, fill out the information, and then you can get it sent right over. In addition, you can also ship in bulk. So if you just wanted to send a bunch of stuff to an office, if you're in that kind of environment, shipping in bulk can definitely be more sustainable also. So then everything is just going to that one place. In regards to this question from James, we do have warehousing in general. Our warehouse is in New Jersey, but we can send out wherever. So we can ship internationally. Happy to provide some additional info on that too. But essentially anything you warehouse, you can ship wherever. Awesome. Another great thing about the inventory is, for example, amongst all the craziness, I have started to have some clients that are newer to SwagUp, just in general, but their company has previously worked with us. We'll get on for a demo really quick and I'll show them their inventory and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know I had inventory. So something that I really wanted to hone in on with the inventory tab as well is that if for some reason you don't want something anymore or you want to start over completely or whatever that may look like, we can actually recycle or donate any products in your inventory as well. So if you're no longer wanting them, not a problem. We can go ahead and take care of that too. And on another note, you can also, for example, if you previously purchased a bunch of bulk items, but now you want to put them together in a pack and then send them out, you can do that too. You'll just have to let your account executive know and put in a request for that bulk swag to be assembled as a pack, and then we can get that taken care of. And we can also do something what's called a repack, which is where you can take existing inventory and we can repack it so you can add or remove items from it to then send it later. Lots of different capabilities through this inventory tab, but those are just a couple of ways that are awesome in regards to making sure you're using all of the inventory that you've paid for. We'll dive a little bit deeper into this for the redeem page as well. But we do, hone in on making sure you're using all of the swag and making sure that it is doing what you wanted it to do. And if you no longer want it, we can absolutely recycle and get rid of it for you also. Shipments tab, we kind of skipped over really quick, self-explanatory. Essentially, you can start to track all your shipments from there too. If you are curious about seeing more of like your like carbon footprint and just how you're sending swag, where you're sending it, all of that, through that shipments tab, you'll be able to check it out, and you can export CSV of all of those shipments too. So feel free to utilize that at any point in time. And then last but not least, we have our redeem page. I know we've spoke about this a lot throughout our chat here, but we do have essentially two different options for this redeem page. The first one is going to be the collection portion. Just as you can see, essentially this is mainly used for collecting and gathering sizing information, addresses, things like that prior to placing your order. This is awesome, so you don't have to be wasteful. You can purchase exactly what you need to with the exact sizes that you need to. You can even start to plan things in advance if you know that you want to send something, but you don't really know what yet, or you need budget approvals or whatever it may be. You can set up a collection page at any point in time. And what these pages do is it's just a web link. So when you click on it, folks will fill out the information that you've set up, and then it'll automatically save that info for you. In general, we, of course, use that collection portion, just, again, ordering exactly what you need, collecting all the sizes before you place that order. You can plan ahead of time to consolidate exactly what you're using and ordering to make sure that you're not over-ordering or over-shipping or any of that. I know sometimes it's just crazy gathering addresses in general. People move around, all of that. So it can definitely be done right through the redeem page here as well. In addition, amongst that collection redeem page, you can also add products to it. So if you want to see if folks are more interested in a water bottle versus a t-shirt, you can add those to the redeem page, and then you can start to gather what products people are more interested in, as in to not be wasteful, no swag ends up in the back of the closet. People don't get swag they already have. That's something that I really see a lot too, especially with my last company. I swear I had like 4 of the same pullovers. I'm like, I don't need another one of these. Like, who wants one? So definitely things that we can avoid, and is really nice just to know that the swag that you're purchasing and spending money on is sustainable, it's eco-friendly, it's quality, it's exactly what they want. Couldn't be better when it comes to swag, right? So definitely keep all of that in mind throughout the redeem pages. This is going to be that little portion where you can like select the products if you want to give folks an option, just to start to collect interest and see what people are wanting moving forward. Our other redeem page option is going to be auto ship. Little bit different, but essentially a very similar idea. What auto ship does is still a web link that folks can fill out. In regards to the auto ship portion though, what happens is you will already have inventory in your inventory section with us. So your swag has been purchased, and then you're able to go through and create an auto ship redeem page and include whatever items that are in your inventory in that page. So if you know that for anniversaries, you want to set up an auto ship redeem page. So every single person, when it's their anniversary, they fill out this link, and then that pack automatically sends to them because it's already in the inventory. All it does is create a shipment. That's essentially what the auto ship version is going to do. So it takes away that fact of you having to then schedule the shipment or send out the swag. Auto ship automatically does that. Everything will be available to track underneath the details of that specific page also. So if you're wanting to see if so-and-so redeemed their swag or if it's on their way or whatever, all of that can be done through the details of each page, just like shown. And you can also reload your credit balance from there, do all those little things through that auto ship redeem page. One of the other things that I wanted to mention in regards to what we were just talking about too, of just having swag that maybe you didn't know of, or maybe it's older and you don't need to use it for a new project or whatever. The auto ship redeem page is also a great way to exhaust your inventory that you've already purchased and you've already produced. So if you hop on and you're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea we had all this inventory, I'm going to go ahead and make a redeem or a redeem page for auto ship. So I'll select all the items we have. I'll send it to everyone in the company, and it's first come, first serve. Whoever gets it, it'll get sent out, and then you can start fresh with your inventory. Another great way to utilize the redeem pages in regards to exhausting inventory and just really making sure that you are being as sustainable as you can, making sure that the money that you spent is, people are getting that swag, and that you are doing, everything in your power to exhaust what you've purchased, and also at the same time get feedback for, what folks are looking for next, and so on and so forth. There are options for that auto ship redeem page to only collect what sizes you have available and things like that. So, you'll have a better idea what to reorder next time, or if you want to do a big order of just mediums and larges because you know that those went a lot faster, whatever that may look like. That really helps you cut down and streamline the whole process. So you are actually ordering what you use, and stuff doesn't just sit here and not be used. Lots and lots of information there. Definitely happy to send over, those additional things for folks that had questions after the call too. But in general, that is going to be a little bit more about how SwagUp does everything that we can to be the most sustainable and most economically and environmentally friendly for all the craziness amongst the world today. And I am, super excited that you all were able to check it out, and hopefully you have a better idea of everything that we do here at SwagUp to help with all these things.
Meg, you're amazing. You are a rock star. Thank you so much for hosting the platform demo. I think we've gained a ton in just about an hour. Our time is almost up. A couple of just general things. We are so happy and so blessed to even be in a position to have, partners like Cole, and Known Supply, that we're just kind of a cog in that wheel and trying to keep that sustainable element all the way through the commerce component of the supply chain. So we're here as a resource for you, as not only the commerce platform that you can shop on, but also folks like Meg, our amazing account execs, are here to service and answer any questions that you may have as it pertains to sustainability, all the way through warehousing, shipping. We are truly your partner through the entire process here. So we do have a spring collection that's out currently on the platform today. A tree will be planted on your behalf for attending this webinar. So thank you so much for attending. And you can also sign up for our next event in May that will be around mental health. That will be in a very similar format. And if there's any questions that any of you have for myself, for Meg, for Cole, for SwagUp in general, please feel free to challenge us on anything product related, anything sustainability related. We are here as a resource to help you there. Other than that, we'll give everybody 2 minutes of their day back unless you have any further questions in the chat. I'll give it about 10 seconds to raise your hand. And if not, we can get on with our Wednesday here. Cool. Meg, anything else from you? Thank you again for running the demo. We appreciate your time and your expertise in the platform.
Thank you. This has been awesome. I think that I'm excited to, answer all sustainability questions and help folks get, the best quality swag that does everything it can to be the most environmentally friendly.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody. Cameron, who else? We had Meg, obviously, in there. James and Laura, thank you for joining us today. We will see you on the next event. And if there's anything that we can help you with, SwagUp's always here to assist. Thanks again, everybody.